So I want to just go over a couple of problems on this homework sheet. So I'll go over the vocabulary with this. So it says that parts of an algebraic expression are called terms. Okay, and if we take a look at this expression here, there's going to be one term with an x, one term with a y, and one term without any variables. So it has three terms. Terms separated by terms are separated by plus or minus signs. So letters are called the variable parts. And the numbers in front of the letters are called the coefficient. And numbers with no letters beside them are called constants. So that's a constant. Okay, so let's go over maybe the last couple here, and then I'll explain some of this homework assignment as well. So here we wanted the like terms are going to be, we want to identify these like terms. So for 13, we're looking at j. J squared is not a like term. So we're going to do plus 13j. So 17j plus 13j gives me a total of 30j. Okay, if I go on to the 9, those are constant terms, so plus 18. Okay, so it's going to be plus 27 is our constant term. And then the j squared terms can go together. Okay, j squared, j squared. Here we're going to end up with 14 plus 2 or 16 j squared terms. And j squared is different than j. So when we look at the next one here, we can start with our a terms. So there's an a term here. That's going to be a minus negative a. So I'm just going to group that all together. So that's plus a, plus 4a, and there's a minus 3a. So we have minus a plus 4 minus 3. Well, that's a total of 0 a's. Now we don't need to actually write it down, but I'm going to just write it as 0a. And then the other terms, a squared, negative 2a squared, that means I have negative 1a squared. Okay, so this really is just negative a squared. Okay, grouping together these ones, we have y squared terms. Y is different than y squared, so we're gonna make sure that we don't group those together. So I have 6 y squared terms. Okay, when I move on to the y terms, I count those separately. So plus 3y, plus 4y, plus 1y. That gives us a total of plus 8y. And then the minus 4x squared has no like terms, so we're going to just leave that as minus 4x squared. Okay, so this last one here, we have the term a squared b. So I'm looking for a squared b. So here's an a squared b, and again, notice that I'm keeping track of the minus, because that's very important. That's an a, well that's not a squared b, b, a. Okay, so none of those are the same. So I end up with negative 9 a squared b's. Again, we don't change those because we're not going to add any powers together or anything crazy like that. This is an a squared b term, and that's exactly what I'm counting. So I end up counting a squared b. So that has to be my final when I combine those terms together. The exponents don't change when I add. Adding and exponents have nothing to do with each other. Okay, and then this one here, we're going to have plus a. This is going to be minus negative, so it's plus as well. So I'm going to end up with plus 10a. And then the last one, I end up with 2 minus 2b's minus b, so I end up with a total of minus 3b. Okay, so those are the solutions for the last ones. For this next part here, what I want you to do is I want you to log into the CK12 so I can keep track of your progress here, and I want you to go to these two practice sites here, and you'll go through the problems there and make sure that you go through those, and I can keep track of that.